Please, maybe she'll wake. I just want a bit more time with her, Reid begged. The nurse approached him and said, You know the rules. This is what's best for her, and those of us in Deliverance. The men walked farther into the room. They paid no regard to Reid, and positioned themselves at the head and foot of the bed. You can take her, the nurse ordered them. They gently transferred Evelyn's limp body onto the gurney and wheeled her out of the room. What will happen now? Reid asked. She will be taken below, where we'll first administer a sedative. Then, interrupting her, he said, I don't want to know the details. Just tell me it will be humane. I can assure you she won't feel any more pain, the nurse said. Now, if you'll excuse me, there are a few more patients for me to attend. But are you sure she won't recover? I did, he said, reminding her that he too had contracted the dog flu and lived. Mr. Flynn, your symptoms never went this far, if you'll recall, the nurse said. When can I come to get her remains? He asked. Tomorrow, late in the day. We're backed up right now, the nurse replied. Hearing the words backed up gave him images of stacked bodies waiting to be processed. Can I go now? He asked. Of course. You know the procedures for decontamination. Please make sure you follow them to the letter, she said, and walked to the door. She stopped and said, Mr. Flynn, consider yourself lucky. You're immune. He thought about giving her a curt reply, but decided to keep his interaction with her professional. How could anyone at this time think he was lucky? He just lost his wife, the mother of his only child. What future would Hannah have in this world? A future that now left her without her mother. He somberly walked down the hectic hallway of the infirmary and into the decontamination room. He methodically went through the rigorous process and appeared on the other side, wet and naked, but clean and virus-free. He got dressed and exited the facility to find the midday sun high in the sky. He stared into the cloudless blue sky and found it odd that on any other day he'd comment about how beautiful it was, but mustering words like that seemed impossible. He walked down the street towards the daycare center. All he wanted now was to hold Hannah, who was 6 months old. He passed a cafe and caught a glimpse of the patrons huddled around a television. Curious, he stepped inside to see what was so captivating. On the television screen, a reporter was frantically talking. That Washington, D.C. and New York have been struck. We're not hearing about other cities, but we can confirm. The screen went out. What happened? A woman howled in fear. Reid didn't need to see any more. He knew what had happened. He turned and walked out. It now seemed that not only had he lost his wife, but the world itself was on the verge of destroying itself completely. He rushed down the street, passing distraught townspeople, who were now getting the word that something horrible had just occurred back east. He found himself in front of the daycare and went inside the lobby, stopping at a locked glass door. Typically, a smiling face from behind a glass window would buzz him in, but no one was there, as they were all chattering to each other in the office, with one person attempting to find another television signal. He tapped on the glass window and said, I'm here to get Hannah. A young woman, tears streaming down her face, turned towards him and hit a button. A buzzer sounded, unlocking the magnetic lock on the door. He opened it, and was instantly hit with the sounds of crying children. He went to the infant's room and looked inside, expecting to see the young woman attendant, but she was nowhere to be found. Hello? He asked, stepping inside the room. Along the far wall stood 7 bassinets. He went to where he knew Hannah was and found her sleeping. So odd, he thought, that with such pain and turmoil around, she could be sleeping so peacefully. He picked her up and cradled her. Holding her close, he said, How's my baby girl? Hannah cooed and began to squirm. Daddy loves you, he said softly. She opened her blue eyes and stared at him. She reached out and touched his chin with her small hand. How's my little girl today, huh? I just saw Mama, and she loves you very much. Hannah opened her mouth and let out a squeal of excitement, followed by more coos.